What's going on, YouTube world and YouTube tribe? Welcome back to LilBigMan Gaming. Bringing you know what this time it is. You know it's the review for Monday Night Raw. You know, despite it being bad, I still watch it to give you guys these review videos. So, thank you. Hold on, let me grab my notes. Thank you for joining me, and yeah, let's get into it. There we go. So they start off with the Damian Priest promo. So he basically comes out and talks about last Monday and how Bobby Lashley is a coward for walking out on their match. You know, because in the middle of their match, I think it was a tag team match. It was Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest versus Bobby Lashley and Sheamus. And during the middle of the match, you know, Bobby Lashley said, "Hell with the match, I'm walking out." And so Damian Priest basically said, you know, he's a coward, and he showed what type of champion he is, and that he said he's not going to be that type of champion, and that he's going to actually be a defending, fighting champion and pay the respect that the United States Championship deserves. Like so many people before him, like he said Rey Mysterio, John Cena, to name a few. I think he said somebody else. Jeff Hardy too was the other one. Jeff Hardy was the other one. Got the Jeff Hardy T-shirt on there. I almost forgot he said Jeff Hardy. Let's see this. And then he also, you know, he did the whole "it feels good to be in front of the OKC crowd," and he did the "welcome to Monday Night Raw." He would issue an open challenge. This will bring out, I want to say, it brought out Sheamus, followed by Drew McIntyre, and then you know, Sheamus basically won the rematch, but Drew McIntyre will come out and say, "Look, man, we need something fresh, something new. How about we have Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre for the United States Championship?" And then this will bring out the Almighty himself, Bobby Lashley, and MVP. MVP, will start running his mouth saying that, you know, he's beating everybody on the roster, so therefore there's no reason for him to hold an open challenge match. But he said because you know for you it's quite admirable, you know, and the fact that, you know, and in fact we're gonna take advantage of it because the Almighty, he wants to be a two-time champ, so he wants to be double champ, I should say, not two-time but double champ. He wants to hold the United States Championship and the WWE Championship. This will bring out RK Bro. RK Bro basically calling Bobby Lashley a gritty SOB for wanting more titles around his race. And then, you know, you got Riddle doing his little bit, talking about, yeah, like, how would you even be able to hold two titles? And, you know, wait a minute, me and Randy has two titles, you know, so he's doing his whole little bit, you know, just making the whole situation funny because it's just like Randy just sitting there like, oh my God, why did you open your mouth? But, you know, because of their words, Bobby Lashley turns to them and says, you know what, it doesn't have to be United States Championship. It could be your tag team championships. So, you know, it's saying I could take those off your hands too. You know, either or, it doesn't matter to him. So, you know, he wrongfully, I think Matt Riddle basically issued the open challenge to Bobby Lashley, and he said we're gonna do an open challenge of our own. And he basically challenged them to a match, and then Randy Orton like, I don't think that's how open challenges work. He said, and then MVP was like, no, he opened his mouth and stuck his big sandal in it. So they took him up on it. You know, everybody get to argue because they don't know what match is what happening, you know, what is what. And we would get Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville to come out, and they basically made the matches. Later it will be both. Later on in the night, it will be both Bobby Lashley and MVP versus RK Bro for the SmackDown. I said SmackDown, for the Raw Tag Team Championships, and Damian Priest will defend his United States Championship in a match against both Sheamus and Drew McIntyre in a triple threat match for the U.S. title. So we got those two matches made for the night, and then I think Rhea Ripley, she ended up coming out too, but they were like, I don't think she's coming out to the challenge like, you know, Damian Priest or whatever. But that will lead to the first match of the night, which is Rhea Ripley versus Shayna Baszler. And that was a good match. That was a very good match. It was one of the good, I want to say great matches, but it was one of the good matches of the night. It was one of the really matches that really make you want to watch it. It was a good bout between the two, and I think Rhea Ripley would get the win. Like, we're doing a reverse roll up. I want to say, yeah, it was a reverse roll up, and she ended up pinning Shayna Baszler. But I forgot that before the match started, Nia Jax said something about that before the match was over with. By the time the match was over with, she was going to lay out both Rhea and Nikki, who was also at ringside. Like she's going to do Charlotte Flair later on tonight, the so-called queen. And she made good on her promise. She lays out Nikki first, and then once Rhea had beat Shayna, she gets into the ring and lays out Shayna as well, giving her some big momentum for the night. When we get to the second, we will go to the second match of the night. Cause I think right after that, the Viking Raiders had cut a promo, and the second match would be the Viking Raiders versus Jinder Mahal and Veer. I really didn't care for this match, even though it was a fresh new match. It just, they haven't really. This was probably like I would say, and the best this match did was make me care about. Made me care to see what they got going for the Viking Raiders next. But yeah, this was I guess you could say it was a decent tag team match. I just didn't really care for it because this is like the start. I guess the start of a rebuild up. The next match, the third match would be the first title defense match of the night, which would be Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre and Sheamus in the triple threat match for United States Championship. This was a very good match. This was the second behind Rhea and Shayna. This was the next best match of the night. It was a very good match. We had some good. I think we had the electric chair. Like, we had the electric chair move pulled off where somebody get ready to try to do the superplex, but then somebody come underneath that person and just basically superplex both. The person that's trying to do the superplex, the person that's going to get the superplex on. We had that. We had Drew McIntyre doing some good spots. Sheamus and Damian Priest doing their thing too. Like, at a couple of times, both Drew McIntyre and Sheamus almost won the championship. So that's why I said this was a very good match, because not just Damian Priest, but everybody almost won a match at different points in the match, which is a match that we don't get very often. We don't get a match where whoever's the competitors each almost won the match in a good dramatic fashion. So yeah, this was a very good match. But Damian Priest would come out on top, and I think he used to move the broken arrow to defeat he pinned Drew McIntyre. He didn't pin Sheamus. So you know we're gonna hear from Sheamus probably next week that since he didn't lose, he deserved his one-on-one rematch. So, but yeah, Damian Priest beat both Drew McIntyre and Sheamus to retain the title. We would get the Goldberg promo, but this will be the first time that we see Goldberg since the incident at SummerSlam. And Goldberg, was asked, it was like a early in the day interview recorded where Goldberg was. It wasn't even at the arena. It was just like he was just walking out of a car. He was working out of the car shop to his truck, and he was asked about his knee, the status of his knee and his son. And he said that he had a torn ligament in his leg, and that he's gonna have to have knee surgery in a bit. I think coming up soon. And he said, "Did that answer your question?" He said, "Even if it does, I really don't care." And he was about to get in the truck, but then he realized he do want to say something, so he closed the door. He said, "You know what? I do got something else to say." You know, he said, "What happened to my son? What Bobby Lashley did to my son?" He said, his son's at home. His shoulders all jacked up. He said, "Don't you can't never really know what type of damage a dude that big, that size could do to somebody like his son, and that the objective has changed. Now he's not coming for the WWE championship. He's coming for Bobby Lashley's soul, and he's gonna rip it right out of his chest." We would get what was supposed to be the next match. Which was Eva Marie versus Doudrop, but that ended in a no contest as the match couldn't even get started because Doudrop, once Eva Marie and Doudrop made their entrance, Doudrop got in the ring. Eva Marie was basically looked like she was talking to the referee, and Doudrop would just attack her and beat her up, payback for blindsiding her. And I guess the beat down was so bad that the match couldn't even get started. And they called off the match. So the real next match would be Karrion Kross versus Humberto Carrillo. As we both know, this is an enhancement match. And those who don't know what an enhancement match is, this is just a talent enhancement match, which is basically a match to enhance the actual star in the match. The star in the match was Karrion Kross. So this match was just used to enhance him further, to make him seem like a more dominant heel. And so basically what I'm trying to say is you knew Humberto was not running the match, and therefore that's what happened. It was basically a squash enhancement match with Karrion Kross beating Humberto Carrillo. So basically what they do, they're going to keep building him up to where he's going to start getting ready to fight people like Drew McIntyre and even maybe Bobby Lashley or whoever's champion at that time. So your winner, like I said, was Karrion Kross. Your next match was the Nia Jax versus Charlotte Flair match. This was also a good match because this was we haven't seen a Nia Jax versus Charlotte Flair match in a while, so this was a good match to see Charlotte Flair and Nia Jax go at it. They went at it good, she was trying to do. I think she was trying to do the Rikishi butt smear on Charlotte, but Charlotte would get out the way of it. Then Charlotte would even taunt her by shaking her booty in Nia's face. Then she slapped it, telling her to kiss it. But yeah, they went back and forth. But I think at that point she was getting ready to try to put Nia in the sharpshooter, but Nia would kick Charlotte, put her feet on Charlotte's butt and kick her / push into the turnbuckle, knocking her out pretty much, and setting her up for what looks like you could say a choke slam powerbomb. And Nia Jax would actually beat Charlotte Flair 1, 2, 3. This was a good showing for Nia Jax. You see that the Nia Jax was dominant throughout the night, so they seem like they're giving her a fairly good push this time. Maybe Charlotte's next opponent, because it don't look like they even trying to set Nikki Ash for a rematch for the title. They just look like they just moving on quickly to either Nia or Alexa Bliss. So it is what it is, but Nia won the match dominantly so. The next match would be Omos versus John Morrison. It was supposed to be, I guess, The Miz, but The Miz is ducking John Morrison, so he ended up he requested a match against Omos. Omos was told him backstage, "Sucks to be you." Then I think he was explaining to Omos why he chose to fight him, and Omos just said, "Yeah, it sucks to be you." And then they came out for their match. It was a dominant showing for Omos as usual. John Morrison did have some offense, but at the end, Omos was just too powerful, and Omos got the win. This would immediately bring out Xavier Woods, and I guess the next match would end up being Xavier Woods versus AJ Styles. That match was also it was an okay match. I want to say it was. I want to say it was like the best match that AJ's been in, but it wasn't a bad match either. So it was a good match. They went back and forth, but AJ Styles would get the win. Then we get to our main event, which is RK Bro versus Bobby Lashley and MVP. This match actually went differently than what I thought. It wasn't just like mostly the offense wasn't just coming from Bobby Lashley. Like, this was a fairly equal offensive match where both sides was getting good offense, both sides was using good tag team tactics. I think at one point they tried to isolate Riddle from Randy Orton, and then they were doing the same thing on their side. They were trying to isolate MVP from Bobby Lashley, and went back and forth. It really went good. But the match would come down to Bobby Lashley getting taken out of the equation, and I think AJ Styles and AJ Styles and Omos were still at ringside. They even tried to get involved, but it would end with I think what you would call it, Matt Riddle hitting the floating bro onto MVP for the win. Afterwards, not MVP, but Matt Riddle would get speared by Bobby Lashley, and then Bobby Lashley would turn around and get RKO out of nowhere, and I guess Omos and AJ were just like, you know what, we're gonna get you when the time is right or whatever, because they just would start celebrating the ring after RKO and Bobby Lashley, and that's the end of the show. Overall, if I were to give this episode of Monday Night Raw anything, I would give it a. You know what? I'm generous because they did entertain me they did give me some entertaining matches. So just because there was more matches that was actually entertaining than they was not entertaining, I would give Monday Night Raw a 7 big ups. I give it a 7 big ups because it was an okay to good episode. It wasn't the usual 6 or 5 or lower episode. This was actually a very good episode. I don't want to get my hopes up because they always do a U-turn, but yeah, I think it was the only matches I really didn't care for was the Viking Raiders. Of course, we didn't get the Eva versus Doudrop, so that was like a waste of time. And yeah, you know what? I was about to say the Omos and John Morrison match, but I won't say it was a bad match. I just didn't really I didn't like it because we knew what the outcome was going to be, but it wasn't a bad match at all. So I won't even say I didn't care about it, but I didn't care about the AJ Styles versus Xavier Woods match. But yeah, it was only like a couple. It was only like them 2 segments, but everything else was very decent to good to okay. So yeah, 7 big ups. If you enjoyed this review of Monday Night Raw, then hit this button right there in the upper right corner for all of my reviews for WWE. And if you enjoy the video 12 months that you want to support the channel, then hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and as always, hit that notification button so you get notified when I drop videos like these or gameplay videos. Also, hit any one of these videos for more of my amazing content. But don't go nowhere. I know I've been in y'all faces all day since I've been dropping videos. Got one more video for you, and that's just the review for DC's Legends of Tomorrow.